Anthony, shortened to Tony McQueen, and I'm 84 years old.
And my name is Heather McQueen, nee McLennan, and I'm 85 years old.
We had this interest. We were attending an OMF, Overseas Missionary Fellowship, prayer meeting, and had felt a burden for Indonesia, where they were in desperate need of people to train elders in the churches who did most of the evangelism, because the theological course was 7 years and they just weren't turning out enough pastors to cope with a tremendous sort of almost a mushroom growth within the Quoole Production church.
I started out with women's work. In our village, we had about 40 women who were interested in coming to a women's group, and I started teaching them to pray. It was very exciting, it was wonderful.
You also wrote Sunday school material.
I wrote, yes, I wrote Sunday school materials in Quoole Production.
After 15 years, our children were having difficulties. Our youngest one was unhappy at school, at being separated from her parents, homesick. And eventually we had to bring her home, and Heather taught her at home for a while. But also our second boy was getting into the wrong sort of, mixing with the wrong sort of people. So the mission said, look, you need to come home and make a home for your children. In the 90s, I had cancer. I had a very vigorous form of sarcoma in my shin. It took a long while for it to be diagnosed, but eventually I was admitted to hospital. They did a biopsy and ascertained that it was cancer. And I remember two young surgeons who were from Germany training in Bristol coming in to my bed and saying, you've got this aggressive cancer. It's your leg or your life. What do you want? I said, well, I'll have my life. So he said, well, we're operating tomorrow. And about the same time, we received a call from a Baptist church in Shirehampton. The call, in essence, was we need older people to sort of ballast to the church. It's full of young people. We need some more mature people. And after about a year, they said, would you please come on board as an assistant minister? So we did several years until our retirement.
Well, we were quite happy in our church in Bristol, and we went on we usually went for a family holiday with all our family. And while we were there one day, we were all in a cafe having a cup of coffee, and our eldest son said, well, Mum and Dad, we've asked you to come to this coffee table because we've got something to put to you. And he said, we think that you should retire. We weren't even thinking about retiring. But actually, well, we said we'll pray about it and we'll think about it and see what we can come up with. He said, I've been saving up, and I've got enough money to buy a house for you, and we wondered whether you'd like us to buy you a bungalow in Birmingham near Danny and Matt and the children.
We actually moved 3 years ago, found it quite traumatic, very tiring. We only realised that afterwards.
Well, we got to Birmingham and we started settling in, and we went out on the road and clapped for the NHS in the COVID pandemic, and it got us to get to know a few of our neighbours. And then suddenly I had a very bad fall and broke the top off my femur and was in hospital for 3 weeks. And then when I got out, when I was very unable to walk and had to have a walking aid. And then I fell again on the other side and fractured my wrist, which meant that the crutch that I used to balance me when I was walking, I couldn't put any pressure on that. So I was as if all my physical abilities were taken away from me suddenly. And for a while I was very cross with the Lord and wanted him to fix me up straight away. But he kindly was patient with me and has shown me that that's not always the way he works.
So we knew Danny and Matt went to a church and were very happy there. So we went along and experienced straight away the love of people. And so we felt this is where God wanted us to be. And that was 3 years ago. We've been very happy, and the leaders of the church very graciously invited me to join the preaching team. It was also an opportunity of joining the mission team, and we're looking forward to actually getting out and about. Now that post-COVID we can actually meet people in the streets and maybe have a more direct form of evangelism. It's great still to have avenues of service and to feel have a purpose. God still has a purpose through our lives.